Good morning. I'm on 1 minute before when I normally come on, and I'm going to make the habit of coming on a minute early, just so you know. So if it's scheduled for 8, I'll be on for at 7:59. And I'm getting ready to get on an airplane. I'm heading to Palm Springs. We're going to be having a little bit of rest and relaxation, but also going to be doing some writing and editing and swimming with my family. So looking forward to having a little sun. And actually, we're leaving right in the nick of time because we're about to have a big snowstorm here. And so I have a question for you. Are you an introvert or an extrovert? If you are an introvert, put an I in the comment. If you're an extrovert, put an E. I'd like to know because the other day I was talking to my wife and I was talking to my daughter and I said, "Have you ever gone into a room and there's a bunch of people that you don't know and how do you respond? Do you decide that you're going to actually talk to a lot of people, or do you kind of just listen for a while?" And it's funny, I got two different responses. My wife said, "Well, I just start talking to everybody and I just start cutting jokes and trying to find common ground with everybody, and then we go from there." And then my daughter says, "No, I kind of just listen and sit back. And then when there's something I understand or something I can really relate to, then I'll talk. But when I'm with a group of friends, I'll talk, a lot." And I realized I'm a lot like my daughter. And I've taken a bunch of tests. You probably have too, about whether or not you're an introvert or an extrovert. And I tend to be just slightly introverted. I'm not super introverted, but just slightly introverted. And I was reading this book and I wanted to share something with you. This book here, you may have heard of it. This is an old book. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics, and it's written by a guy named Maxwell Maltz. Maxwell Maltz is an interesting guy. He's no longer with us, but he was a surgeon. He went to Columbia University and he was a plastic surgeon. So he dealt with a lot of people's issues personality wise. And one of the things that he has a chapter 11, it says how to unlock your real personality. This chapter blew me away because one of the things that he said is that every single child, if you think about any child that you've met, they never really have a bad personality, a child necessarily. They generally are kind of a beautiful person on the inside. And he made a point that everybody is made in the image of God, and you tend to have this natural beauty inside of you. And in order for you to have your true personality, you really need to go back to your childhood and just be who you are and not try to be somebody else. And I really realized he was talking about inhibitions. Like when people have a bad personality, generally they're worried what other people think of them and they're not really being themselves. And I realized that that's one of the reasons why some people don't talk when they're in a group, because they're really worried. What is everybody else? Self consciousness, he says, is not about um, you being conscious of yourself. It's more about you being conscious of what other people think of you. And if you just be yourself, you are a natural, beautiful person. So if you're an introvert, sometimes it's okay to be an introvert. I actually, I am slightly introverted. So type in the comments, put an I if you're an introvert or an E if you're an extrovert. I'd like to know. So I'm slightly introverted. And so when I get into a room full of people, my initial when I was a kid, I remember I'll never forget the first time I went to a prom. It was like a little junior high thing. And it was the first time I ever had to dance. And I was all dressed up in a suit and everything. And there was some girl that I didn't really know. And I remember how nervous I was that entire time. And now, if you know me, I've played in front of thousands of people, music in front of thousands of people, and a performer. But I forced myself to I kind of learned how to be an extrovert. But in reality, you don't really have to be an extrovert. If you read all these self-help books, they'll tell you you need to be an extrovert. No, you really don't need to be an extrovert. So being yourself, you become more like how you were when you were a child. And when you do that, you become the true you, the true personality that you are, and you're a much more beautiful person and you're much more attractive to other people. So you don't have to try to be something for somebody else. And I've got 14-year-old twins, and I'm kind of trying to teach them that. And it's very interesting because one of my kids is an extrovert and the other one's an introvert. One's a boy, one's a girl, and they're twins. So it's very interesting to see how they progress and how they go along the way. But I guess my message to you today is go out. If you have not read this book, go read it. Psycho Cybernetics, written by Maxwell Maltz, a Columbia University educated surgeon who used to do plastic surgery. And the reason why this book is so good is that he had a lot of background before he went became a surgeon about psychology, but he had to deal with people's issues when they were dealing with plastic surgery, and he saw all the pain people went through, and he actually has techniques in here for you to become the real you, that attractive you, that will make you much more successful in business, in your relationships, in your marriage, with your kids, your family. So that's really my message for you today. So I'm getting ready to jump on a plane, so I don't have a whole lot of time. But I urge you to read that book, whether you're an introvert, whether you're an extrovert, and be your true self. I will talk to you guys later. I hope you have a great day. Bye bye.